Hello everyone and welcome back to the War Room. You've been loving the PvP series where it is all about all of you guys in all the different servers trying to showcase off your PvP skills and allow me to break it down and teach all the new players how to combat. So here we are in server 112 today. So this is going to be episode 12 in the War Room. So stay tuned for all the action and analysis like always. How you doing everyone? Welcome back. Yes, we're doing masses amount of PvP like always, and we're trying to give you guys all that educational needs to excel in PvP combat. So here we are in server 112 again, and we're going to be covering basically all of this little bit of strategy and fighting that is happening currently in Kaltia, because as you can see we are getting a massive push from one side compared to the other, right? The way they've had to build, we know this is similar from other servers, right? So if we go to server 32 for example, that was another server that had to build all the way down this northern flank and come all the way down to the southern hemisphere, right? So it's very long refresh timers at the start of the combat, but as you can imagine now, this has all changed, because if we go and do some live drawing now, this is probably out day 3, 4, maybe 5 of this fight now, and as you can see, we've got the refresh timers basically cut in half, right? Because this is now where the battle zone is, as well as the NEX guys are all here. So the little battle zone, as you can see, is this little bridge. And the reason why we always want to showcase the refresh timers and the importance of building is because of this, right? It allows you guys in this alliance to be positioned with your cities in a closer proximity to the battle, right? And as you can see now, there is already fighting going on. Even if it's small skirmishes, you can see it allows you to always try and gain some sort of advantage in the open field. So if we look on the NEX side here, and Out's got an amazing keep here, basically stopping any sort of push across this bridge without some sort of retaliation or punishment, as well as all this extra marches, as you can see, all around ready to build and help if needed. So I really do like the fact that they're able to basically protect this position compared to the other alliance. If you look at the other alliance, there's no keep here, and this could be a very strategic downfall, right? Because now they are always having to keep maintaining a march here that's always going to be on the other side of the bridge to keep presence, so these guys don't feel like they can just easily just walk over and gain space, right? Because that's the thing in this game. And if you play different games like, I would say, Overwatch or League of Legends, other style of team-based games, space is a very, very crucial mechanic, right? Because space is basically the way you can operate in. So right now, if we were drawing this line, this little ball here basically gives you a nice protection, right? And if we draw the dead space, as you know, we'll be in this little box. We don't want to be in this box, but we do have these other guys that control all of this other end, right? But the fact is, this is all open. I'm keeping this line quite far back, and the reason is, again, we know how powerful flying units are and some artifacts in the game that allow you to actually just cross this river, right? So you can push into here without actually being too scared, right? Because you could create a flank that is going to basically violate these guys and come in from the side while you push through and ignore the dead zone, right? So there's loads of different gimmicks that you can do, but what it would allow them to do as well, like I say, if these marches on the NEXES side here, not NEXES side, on the opposite side here, wasn't here, they would basically give up space. And this space, if you can imagine it now, for the guys would more look like something like this, right? And it might not look like much, but the fact that if you have your positions, troops positioned here at the tip of this point, it allows you to actually poke out and start going into deeper territory for any sort of farm killing, and that's going to cause problems again for the enemy alliance. So I really do like the fact that this keep is here, really good positional keep, and you can see they're already building this second keep, which has just been completed now. So they've got a massive amount of keep troops here that are gonna allow them to protect this bridge. So let's see if there's going to be any more combat, and hopefully there is, because this server is going to be a spicy one if you're looking for fighting. So thank you for so far if you've been enjoying the video on a little bit more, again, theory crafting. We like to do a bit of theory crafting and give you guys a bit more of an understanding on what you could be doing and making you guys think a little bit more when playing Call of Dragons, right? With all that said, let's move on to a little bit of gameplay footage. And here we are, finally, a little bit of gameplay, nothing too crazy, but small skirmishes are always the best to break down, right? Because again, you can see these guys using the flying troops that we were talking about in this river, right? Obviously, the bridge always being the dead zone of the PvP combat, it's going to obviously allow these guys, now you can see on the outer ENX, to focus fire really easily onto the Chaos Mages marchers. When you notice though, these flying marchers obviously are returning home, maybe just to get themselves refreshed. But if we saw how they were positioned originally at the start of that clip, they were making themselves present in this river, right? We can see Akrillo doing the exact same thing, using that river to his advantage. Because again, this is positional awareness that these players are pumping out. You've got Chaos now using their builders, which were helping, you know, build this. This is different uses. They've got mages here with some infantry, units. And they're all now focusing into the dead zone, out of getting targeted. And there's a time bomb onto him, which is going to hit massive AoE on these guys if he doesn't get out in time, which he doesn't. He hits 2 marchers plus the 3rd there with that time bomb trigger there. And that just showcases how you have to be, guys, always active in the battlefield, right? A lot of people have seen the previous episodes where we saw Server 32 get absolutely melted, right, by the cavalry charges. But here you've got to be always ready to go, because if you're not, you're going to get caught out. And here we go, Chaos punishing Jarma Flash there with their mages. And the cool thing is, which sometimes you do spot and sometimes see other units and players do, is use these marches here to actually hit these patrols, right? These patrols, you might think at first isn't going to do anything, but you got to think, these do very little damage to your march. So it's going to allow you to actually fire your skill cycling a lot quicker, and it's going to allow you to basically hit these guys with a free rage ability. So if you're using like Lilia, that's a free 1200 skill damage factor at the start of the combat before even they've started challenging their rage skill. So really cool little bit of combat, nothing too crazy that we're gonna go over, but I thought for today's episode it was really good to actually showcase server 112 for the very first time here on the main channel, from when we did cover them a very long time ago, back in the early days. But from here, which I like to showcase, is the buildings, right? Want to showcase how this is very important in positioning, because if you don't have really good situations where your alliance is setting up these keeps, like you can see this union between NEXS and out, they're able to defend this bridge so beautifully and even have a, overlap. So if any troops were going down the center, both keeps can rain down below. So here we're seeing Don Rupert hitting that patrol, obviously charging up the raid cycling, and again, if there was someone nearby, we're going to be able to see that. And here the flying units have returned. So this is what we were talking about the earlier parts of the clip. They did as we were imagining refreshing their troops, and this is the power now of your flying units. And this is why I really do love flying units, because with them, as you can see, you're able to happily be positioned in a position where you can not get targeted. And this is if you are in a really good frame of mind, able to be actually used in your advantage, right? Because you can, as you saw those guys do right there, they was able to actually give themselves a position where they was only getting targeted by 2 or 3 marchers. So here we go again. We've got this march coming down right now by world class, and being positioned in this ball where he is right now, it's going to allow him to actually again punish any of these builders, because he's going to be able to flank here and target those builders, which has been a very common theme which you've noticed throughout all of these war episodes so far, right? The ability to use flying units or cavalry units to take advantage of non-terrain things. And a lot of people keep forgetting about this, and one of the things you got to remember is in the tutorial, guys, in your very first season, you got to remember in the Dragon Trials, the little branches do teach you about using flying units in water, and it's a very basic concept that it allows you, a player, to actually take advantage and do what you like. Again, imagine this was maybe the flying cavalry. It might be a little bit more harder to punish these guys, but again, if you had maybe 6-7 flying cavalry units with a couple of these flying mage units, that is very scary, right? You're going to be able to position yourselves on this ridge line, come in and target these guys and do a massive amount of damage, which would allow your main murder ball to then cross over the bridge and then pincer them from 2 different directions, right? Really good little bit of combat there. And we can see here Akrillo having to basically play defense duty with his archer units on Abaddon and Mr. World Class here for out, doing a fantastic job showcasing, again, like I said, how good flying units are and how you're able to punish these guys, because again, only these mage players are able to punish you. And if these guys weren't active, which is what we've been saying so far in this episode, they would be punishing you, right? They would be killing you. If they weren't active, you'd be able to just get all this free kill, free AoE damage, potentially, depending on that pairing that you have brought or the flying pairing that you've brought. But it is allowing you, again, to showcase what I think, honestly, is one of the best combat systems in the game. Even though there's little small bits and bats that happen, you gotta remember these guys would have been fighting for a load of days, so they might be in that healing stage. So right now, it's all about the war of attrition. How many extra troops can you gain while basically your opponent losing more, right? So if you can get that small little bit of an advantage, it might obviously sound what you'd think is obvious, but for a lot of players that don't realize, these little small inches will help you when all of your troops come back and you're going for that big push, because some players might still be healing up from the positive trades that you've been doing compared to your enemies. So that's going to be the War Room episode. I hope you've enjoyed it today. We've covered a nice little bit of theory crafting on the keeps, as well as the terrain and the ability of how you could basically use this to your advantage. Even we didn't really see much of the top river, but in the bottom river we saw a load more abuse, as you can see, which is still happening in the background, of the flying units position themselves so infantry and other units like marksman units can't target them, because they simply just outrange those units. So it has to be a mage for mage trade, and if you've got a really powerful mage combination, as you can see some of these players do have, is a very good and very positive trade indeed. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Smash like, comment and subscribe for more daily COD Dragons content with me, MrSneakyy, here giving you all that goodness and educational content, and always something new every single day. So with all that said, thank you very much and see you in the next video.